A little bit of a country flair thrown in for tonight as we talk with the band Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Where do you guys hail from?
Jamestown, Tennessee.
The big little town of Jamestown.
Yeah.
I have in studio with me. Go ahead and introduce and say what you do in the band.
My name is Rick Kluffenstein, and I am the lead singer and guitar player. I just do rhythm.
Hi, I'm Josh. I play little mandolin, dobro, and some guitar here and there.
And I'm Doug. I play banjo and some guitar.
On the album, I also play the drums, and, these guys take turns playing the bass, so.
And somebody plays harmonica? That's not an official instrument, though, is it?
No, it's not. We had a guy come in and got hired for that,
But you play backup harmonica, right, Josh? You've got a little harmonica you carry with you just in case?
On occasion.
Before we got started, he pulled out a keychain and had a harmonica. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought we were going to have an impromptu performance, but we're going to have a couple of your songs, actually. We'll share those a little bit later on so we can hear your actual music. As you said, there is a little bit of harmonica in there. And all the other instruments that you mentioned, too. We'll get into what all you put into making this. You've got is this your first official CD?
Yes, yes, it is. We went back to the studio probably 5 or 6 times, 8 hours at a session. Put a lot of work into it. A lot of time and a lot of thinking and thought.
Title of the disc is Going Back to Tennessee.
Yes.
Fan pop. Is that what you just put Tennessee in there? Because, we said Tennessee.
We figured, we're from Tennessee, so why not give a shout out to the great state.
Yeah, it's all right.
We'll talk about where it comes from, the music that's on there, where that comes from, too. And we'll get into all of that tonight as we talk with Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Tonight, we go with the country flavor as we talk with Curly Purtis. And I'm labeling it as country, but I think there's a little bit more going on than just saying that. Wouldn't you agree?
There's so much more going on than just country. You got anywhere from Americana to Rolling Stones kind of feel to folk, and then a little bit of bluegrass mixed in with all of that.
All of that goes into what makes Curly Purtis, and we're going to find out a little bit more about that as we go along with our interview with him tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. You guys were kind enough to travel over and hang out with us. You're over from around the Jamestown area. Do you guys perform over there a lot?
We've played a couple times over there. We played at the Great Pumpkin Festival a while back. We don't play a whole lot in Jamestown. We're trying to spread out and get a fan base across Tennessee instead of more.
On behalf of Linus, I have to ask, did the Great Pumpkin actually show up? Or
Yeah, I believe it. I think they had a world record now, wasn't it? Was it a world record?
Some kind of world
Some
record.
huge pumpkin. We don't know,
1,400 pounds or something.
Wow, that is a great pumpkin.
Very great.
Super cold, too, so.
How long have you guys actually been together as a band?
Since May of this year.
May of this year. So you're really, really a young band.
Yeah, we're not even a year in, and it feels like we've been together probably 10.
Tell them about
Rick, where did you get started in music?
My grandfather was a big influence on my life. He played a lot of banjo, bluegrass style, and at the time I didn't know what I was doing, and he had a guitar there, and he showed me how to play a few chords, and he'd say play in the key of G. So at that time I thought it just meant strum the G, just over and over, just keep playing G. And it turns out that's not how you do that. And I've yet to learn. So that's where I get my big influence from, is from my grandfather. And
you did better than me. I would have gone with, gee, that sounds good. So,
right.
That's not what fits there. What about you, Josh? How did you get your start into it?
I don't really know. I was bored. My grandma had bought me a guitar for my birthday back when I was 12 or something, and I never picked it up. I was bored one day, and I asked my dad if he knew how to play. So he showed me a few chords and started getting into it from there, and I learned guitar, and then I figured, well, if I can figure this out, I can play piano, and I just kind of progressed from there. Try to learn as many instruments as I could, you know what I mean?
Branched all the way out to, I think you said dobro earlier.
Yeah, played dobro, and I just recently learned mandolin. And that's
so for those listening, be aware guitar could be a gateway instrument.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Should come with a warning like that. Doug, what about you?
I started playing guitar in high school so I could join the local punk rock band. And I played punk rock for a long time, and people think it's really weird that I've eventually progressed into playing banjos and playing Americana and country and bluegrass music.
Actually, I don't think it's all that strange, because the punk ideal is one of rebellion, not quite full out anarchy, but kind of rebellious. I think suddenly jump into the banjo, that fits.
I think that attitude fits more with this kind of music than it even does with the punk rock anymore.
And I believe you have the distinction of being the most awesome member anyway, is that right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I think they gave you that title, that's right.
That's up.
We let him think it, just make himself feel a little better.
All of these different backgrounds coming together to form Curly Purtis, getting into the songwriting and stuff. You, as you mentioned, a punk background. Most of your stuff kind of sounds in one certain vein. You have one song, though, that kind of steps out of that just a little bit. Slow Down?
Yeah, Slow Down. Josh wrote that song, and it's a totally different change from what we have on the album versus the other songs. We have congas. It's a real laid-back song, a little bit of dobro in it, and just the lyrics itself is different from everything else that we have.
Where'd they come from?
Just about life, really. You know, I spent a lot of my life worrying about stuff. I've learned that everything will come to you if you just, have some patience. And the song's pretty much about that, I mean,
just
don't
slow
worry.
down.
Yeah.
Curly Purtis, it's Slow Down on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. A variety of country-flavored instruments and personalities come together to make Curly Purtis. We're talking to them tonight on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and say what you do in the band again.
My name is Rick. I do lead vocals, and I play a little rhythm guitar.
Yeah, I'm Josh, and I play the dobro, mandolin, and a little guitar as well.
I'm Doug. I play the guitar and a lots of the banjo.
I'm going to confess, I don't know exactly how the dobro works, but I just love the name of the instrument. And it sounds good when you listen to it.
Well, if Josh doesn't play it, it would.
Someone else plays it.
Somebody needs money.
It's pretty much like a guitar, tuned a little different, tuned to an open tuning, but you play it with a slide.
So it's almost like slide guitar, but not really.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I play
That
it.
pretty well sums it up.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about earlier, you had started out with a guitar and then kind of went to piano and then eventually added that in.
Yeah.
Are there other instruments that you're looking to add into the mix?
Oh, I've been thinking about picking up the fiddle since it's tuned like a mandolin. But I don't have one, so I'll have to get into that first. But that's something I've been looking into.
What about you, Doug?
I'm just trying to learn how to play the banjo. I'm just, I play mostly by ear. So I have to look and listen to learn. So I'm still learning a lot on the banjo.
What about you? What's the most complicated thing that you've picked up for an instrument?
Well, nothing really. I mean, I don't play complicated things. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. I really like to play the drums, and I used to play heavy metal on the drums. And then when we were in the studio, to go from heavy metal to something so simple, it was ridiculously hard, believe it or not. It was just, real simple beats, and to just keep time with those, it was ridiculous.
So you're like over drumming it, or
We had to pull it
I
back
was
on a
over
few
drumming it
things.
at first, and they was like, "Hey, man, we're not playing metal. We're playing
hip-hop.
whatever we play.
think less John Bottom, back off a little. What do you?
Yeah, it got a little crazy at first, and it was so hard for me to switch from what I'm used to playing.
And it's been about the same for all of us. Once we got together, we had to work together to find our own sound and see what fits,
And that's another cool thing about us three. If we ever have you hear about all these bands having these falling outs because of petty stuff. If we have anything on our mind, we can pretty much just tell each other how we feel. And yeah, people get mad and stuff, but we get over it because it's not about that. It's about the love of music and wanting to play. And what we have is something very unique, and we just want to share it with everybody and hope everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, and the little time that we've actually been together, we've been through a lot of stuff already.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much like a family now.
How did you come together to begin with?
Oh my goodness.
It's an amazing tale.
Hold on, let me get popcorn. No, wait, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll condense the story because we could be here all day. We were hired separately to play instruments for another guy who had been signed to a label, or claimed he was signed to a label. And he gives us a CD of songs. None of the songs sound the same, but he claims that they're him. One of them's a Don Henley song. One of them's Conway Twitty. And we do some investigations and figure out that he's passing these songs off for his, and they're not. And one of my favorites was by a guy named Pearly Curtis.
What was it? I went skinny dipping with Paris Hilton. That was the name of the song.
That was his big hit or whatever. And we were just like, wouldn't it be funny if we started our own band and called it Curly Purtis? And we just kind of did it.
And now you know where the name comes from.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the short version. There was so much more in between that.
You know what? I'm glad you didn't go with the long version. I honestly did not have popcorn ready. I do have another song to share with everybody and more to talk to you guys about. And we'll continue that as we continue our conversation tonight with Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Originally meant to be in somebody else's band before making their own band. Tonight, we're talking with Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. That's pretty much how things started out. You had really never met before?
Well, no. I used to work with Doug. We worked, probably 2 or 3 years together at the same place?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
6 months, maybe.
No, it was longer than that. Anyway, who cares? But
apparently you
I
were
knew
married
Doug.
at some point and didn't know it because it seemed like an eternity. Is that what I'm...
That's a true story. But no, I knew Doug for a little while, and then I actually met Josh. I knew about Josh because we live in the same area, but I never really met him. We met at that guy's house for practice or whatever we were doing there.
And I had known Doug. We went to school together, and on occasion we'd play local talent shows, and Doug would come play with us.
And his band would come play with my band and all that jazz. Like, I hadn't met Rick until we started working together, and I didn't know he could even play guitar. He would go sit on the porch and start playing guitar. I was like, hey, man, I have a guitar. And we'd sit out there and play for hours instead of working.
Yeah.
See how that came back earlier? I said guitar, gateway instrument, and look what happened.
Yeah, and we
Led
can
to
talk
this.
about that now because we're not employed there anymore.
Well, now it's paying off because you guys have come together as a band, making music. You have your first disc together.
Yeah. it's
Going
really
back to
exciting.
Tennessee, you've got how many tracks on that?
We have 10 total.
10 total songs. It runs the gamut. I think we played Slow Down earlier, and that was, you said, a little bit of a difference on there. But the rest of them...
The rest of them, what we really wanted to do is get so many different styles of music into one album. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say that. Not one song on the album sounds like another song. There's always something different about each one. And we want to make sure, everybody can listen to it. It's not just one certain style of music.
But we wanted them, it sounds like us, whether it's, whatever song it is. Yeah, our hip-hop song, now that's killer. You just got to check that out.
I was getting ready to ask if Doug got to put some punk on there because I didn't hear that track. Was that the hidden track?
We're not allowed to say.
It's hidden in the car, Ryan.
It was a hidden track. Thanks for that.
Oops. I forgot to say spoiler alert. That happens sometimes. You guys, though, you do run the range on there as far as it does sound a little bit, some variations in there. But again, as you said, overall uniform. So it's not like you were trying to say, hey, we can do something different every time because I think that'd be a hard standard.
Well, we weren't intentionally meaning to do it. It just happened that way because of 3 different people coming together.
And we all love different types of music, you know what I mean?
And we've only been together since May, so we're still, the next bunch of stuff we start working on might be different.
Yeah, we don't even know. We just started, and this is what we have, and we're really excited about it and happy about it.
When you're putting the songs together, how does the writing process happen?
It's always different. Sometimes we'll get together and we'll just be like, hey, I like this word. Let's write a song, based around it. And we'll do it together. On occasion, I'll write a song or Doug will write a song and we'll come together. And if the other guys like it.
Or sometimes we just go to the studio and Rick goes, hey, I got this song. And we just record it in the studio.
Magic.
There's been a couple times, I think 2 of the songs we weren't even planning on doing. We just got in the studio and we had some extra time. So I'm like, hey, I got this riff. And we ended up writing the whole song
I think
there.
I Love You More is actually one of them. You had, a verse and a chorus?
Yeah.
And then Doug wrote
A verse.
The second verse, and I wrote the bridge on it.
While I was recording the
While he was
guitar.
recording it. So it was really
What
weird.
about the title for it, Going Back to Tennessee? Where did that come from?
That's a song.
Billy Ray Cyrus. We got, that's a joke.
That must have been when you were working with the other guy.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Josh pretty much wrote that song.
Well, that was when I first started getting into playing dobro, and it was about this girl I know. She'd moved up north. She just wanted to leave Tennessee, you know what I mean? And then after living up there for a couple of years, she realized that this is home. It's pretty much talking about, regardless, in the end, this is a good place to be.
Going back to Tennessee, and the overall sound carries that too. You said you want to put that Tennessee sound into it.
Yeah.
So let's give that a listen. The title track to their disc, it's Going Back to Tennessee. It's Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Talking tonight with Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7, getting to know a little bit about their music, having the privilege of sharing your music. This is your first disc, your first chance to get out and do that. You guys have been out and performed. I think we talked about you did the Great Pumpkin Festival here recently. How often do you guys get out and do shows?
Well, we haven't really done a lot. We've done probably a total, I'm going to shoot a number, probably 5. You know, what we really wanted to focus on was getting the album done and
Having something
to play.
That makes sense.
Because we actually started in reverse. We had no songs, and then we became a band. You know what I mean? Usually on a label, yes, we were with a label at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We formed a band on a Thursday. The following Friday, we were on a label.
In the studio.
And
In the studio.
Monday, yeah.
We were recording "Addicted," one of the tracks on the album, and it was our first single, and that was a song I wrote probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it was different, the playing style. So we practiced it the night before, went down to the label, they loved it, they signed us to the label, and we recorded it.
And where's the label at now?
They're still in Nashville. That's another long story that I can condense. They were doing things we didn't agree with, and it was just a simple, it was almost a mutual breakup, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we told them we wanted to leave, and they accepted it mutually.
So,
and they were happy to show you where the door was. See how that worked out?
I don't think they were.
And we've actually been, I'm not bagging on them or anything because I'm not mentioning their names.
Right.
We've actually done a lot more by ourselves than what we were doing with them. We've recorded.
They were kind of holding you back a little bit.
They were, in a way, because, when you're with a label, you have to do what they want you to do and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't agree with it.
Well, you guys have gotten together then and made the music. You've got it available. You are online. Give me some presents here, Doug.
You can find us online at curlypurtistheband.com.
You can get the album on there. That's kind of cool. And you can find out where they're going to be performing at, which they're starting to add more performances under the belt. Guys, sounds like you've got some good things in the work. Looking forward to sharing more with you down the road. Thanks for coming in to talk with us.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity.
That's been Curly Purtis on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7.